Isabel, and I'm with 1 Million Cups. I'm one of the volunteer organizers. First, I have a couple of announcements. If you are parked in the parking lot directly behind this building, you are not allowed to park there unless you are staff and you have a permit to park there. Otherwise, you will be towed if you're parked there, so you'll want to move now. Please, thank you. And during this event, we just ask that there's no talking because it can get a little bit difficult to stay engaged and to hear if there's a lot of people that are having side conversations. You can just go out there and do that. If you need to use the restrooms, there is a code, and you'll find that just before you get to the left corner there on the wall, there's a code to get you into the restroom. Okay, so it's December 13th. Today's our last Wednesday of 1 Million Cups for the year. I see that we have a smallish kind of group today. We usually have a lot more than this, and people may trickle in as the time goes on. Thanks for being here. Anybody here for the first time? Wow, awesome, welcome, thank you. That's great. So I'll go through the spiel of what 1 Million Cups is. Many of us have heard it over and over, but I will go through it again because there are new people here. So 1 Million Cups is a volunteer-run organization. We have been around for 4 years in the Dallas market. The organization has been around for 5 years. It was started in Missouri by the Kauffman Foundation. They saw it as a great way to bring entrepreneurs together and to engage, inform, and they really just wanted to get to know entrepreneurs in their community. It got so popular that it has spread across many other cities, and it's now in, I believe, 162 cities, something like that. And there's an aggressive plan to have it in over 500 cities by the end of 2018, and they are on a roll so far. We have an app. We ask that you check into the app. If you haven't checked in when you came in the entrance here, you can just download the app on your phone. And there you can also network with people that are in our community and in other cities as well. So I am also going to let you know that we'd love to have your feedback on the presenters. You can do that in the app as well, and also find more information about them. So the flow is 2 presenters, and they each have 6 minutes. We will cut them off at 6 minutes if their presentation is still ongoing. It's nothing personal. It's just that's the way that that's the format that we use. And then we'll have Q&A afterwards. And so with that, I'm going to welcome VenoStent's coming in first? Yes. So welcome Jonathan Reese. I'm sorry, Tim Gorey.
Thank you everyone for being here. I want you to meet my friend Darius. Darius has complete kidney failure, and his chances of being alive today are just 30%. Thankfully, he's still with us and living an extremely impactful and meaningful life. He's a great man. But this past month, his access site, or artery vein connection created in his arm for dialysis, collapsed and failed. He now has just 3 more chances before he's completely relying on a centralized catheter that is highly prone to infection and failure to survive. Hi, I'm Tim Boyer, and I'm here today because it is my dream to impact the lives of patients like Darius using a device that I developed over the last 5 years of my PhD at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. Kidney disease, unfortunately, Darius is not alone. Kidney disease afflicts 1 in 10 people in the world. In the US, it's the #9 killer, and there are enough patients to fill my states of Texas and Tennessee combined. Complete kidney failure afflicts over 2 million globally, and 680,000 patients in the US are enough to fill my entire home city of Boston. For dialysis, an access site is created where an artery-vein connection is made in your arm to provide external filtration for your entire bloodstream. Unfortunately, our current standard of care, which is to provide no additional support at the time of surgery, results in half of these access sites failing within the first year. This is unacceptable to us, which is why we're doing something about it in creating Self-Wrap, a patent-pending shape memory polymer wrap to reduce access failures. For dialysis, an artery-vein connection is created in your arm, and this can be a direct connection of artery to vein called a fistula, or a graft can be used as shown here. When a graft is used, the graft is first connected to your artery and then is connected to the vein. Our product would simply slide up this graft before securing connection of graft to vein. Then, upon securing connection of the graft or artery to the vein, our product would slide down over this interface, and as a shape memory polymer and moldable material at body temperature would self-close around this interface to promote uniform outward vein growth and provide non-constrained mechanical support to the area most prone to failure, the vein graft or vein artery junction. Differentiating ourselves from other competitors in development, our product provides durable, flexible mechanical support, a custom fit to the patient's specific geometry to promote uniform outward vein growth, and do so in a self-closing and sutureless manner to make it quick and easy to implement at the time of surgery. The value that this can have for patients is self-evident, as reducing reduced surgeries and infections from reducing catheter reliance can improve their quality and length of life. This can also have value for providers and payers. For surgeons, it's an easy-to-use medical device to achieve better patient outcomes. For providers, it can reduce readmission penalties and lower facility costs. And for dialysis clinics, it can recruit revenue loss when patients are rehospitalized due to access failures. And keep them on dialysis. And this can also have significant cost savings for payers, such as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, by reducing reduced surgeries that they have to reimburse. This value translates to an approximate $320 million market in the US for all hemodialysis access surgeries. And as this can be used anytime an artery vein connection is created, such as in peripheral and heart bypass, this represents an approximate $1 billion opportunity in the US. Our timeline to market is contingent upon the timeline of the FDA clearance for this Class 2 device, which we anticipate to occur in 2020 or 2021. While it seems like a long time to market, we don't necessarily need to get all the way there to have an exit. Vascular surgery technologies are acquired across the spectrum. For example, Pervasive Therapeutics was acquired for $200 million prior to FDA clearance or approval for the same indication of use. And an earlier exit is also possible. So this is when Guidant acquired a bioresorbable drug-eluting stent technology for $16 million soon after completing a 28-day animal study. Today, we've raised over $300,000 in federal grant money to optimize device design. We've interviewed more than 100 healthcare professionals to validate a product market fit. We filed 2 patent applications and have clinical champions at Houston Methodist and Vanderbilt to initiate clinical trials and accelerate market penetration. Our leadership consists of myself and Jeffrey Lux. We're supported by a team of surgeons, engineers, and entrepreneurs with extensive expertise in product development, business strategy, and successful healthcare exits. Looking ahead, we're looking to raise funding to manufacture a final product, complete FDA-compliant preclinical studies, and file patent applications globally to reach patients like Darius around the world. If you want to join us in our quest to impact the lives of the hundreds of thousands of patients like Darius, please talk to us. Got it? You can show the world right away. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the presentation. So as we go into the 15-minute Q&A, we ask that when you ask your question, stand up, give us your name, and then ask your questions. The first question is, how can the community help you?
Well, we're, as an early stage startup, we can use all the help we can get. The main thing we're looking for right now is some bridge funding. We've applied for federal grants to continue to do the development of the product and testing required. But any kind of connections to investors would be huge. Also, vascular surgeons. I mean, we do have some good collaborations, but obviously, the more that we can network with those people who are really, that's our business model, is to convince those surgeons at these academic or top tier institutions, because they're so important in the procurement process for these providers, so for these hospitals. But yeah, any kind of connections would be much appreciated.
Any other questions?
My name's Walker. On your initial pitch, I noticed that you didn't say anything about how long dialysis takes as a total. And part of your product allows the vein to strengthen itself and grow. You might want to include something about increasing the efficiency of how fast the blood can be cleaned, because the product reinforces that vein so it can move more blood. I don't know if that's something you guys have thought about talking about, but from a funding standpoint, that would be interesting because it's a cost saving.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, reducing catheter lines is something I briefly mentioned, but yeah, that's a good point.
Hello, I'm Jeff. Is this product used for all anastomosis sites or just AV sites? Could it be used for transplants also?
Right now we're just looking at any kind of artery vein connection in the body, so that we bypass surgery or anything, or arteriovenous creation surgery.
So it's AV anastomosis sites exclusively? But not artery to artery is not needed, or it's just not?
Well, actually, that's a good point. It just depends on what if a vascular surgeon wanted to collaborate, or if an investigator wanted to collaborate and look at its use in these other areas, that would obviously be welcome. I think it could prove useful there. I mean, providing mechanical support, it's a pretty simple solution, yet so it could be translatable for an artery-artery connection as well.
Okay, I didn't know if it was not needed there, or it's just specifically because it's an AV anastomosis site that is pressurized and it weakens itself. I don't know why you're focusing just on AV.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we chose this area was the large clinical need. Basically, obviously you're trying to address an important problem, but then also the shorter clinical trial requirements, because the failure rates are so profound, and actually a lot of them are located within a few centimeters of that artery vein connection. So that's why we're focusing on that application
Thanks.
first. Yep, thank you.
Any other questions?
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jeff as well.
Oh, all right. Jeff.
was, can you talk more about so your background, and so I guess you also said that you started during your PhD at Vanderbilt. So does the school own part of this, or so it's all you, or just background on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a grad student at Vanderbilt. I got my PhD there in biomedical engineering, and this is a process that started about 5 years ago, maybe even longer, where I was developing the material and collaborating with different vascular surgeons. But long story short is that Vanderbilt owns the IP, but we have an exclusive option agreement with them to establish an exclusive license for all fields of use. So we're still, we haven't acquired the license for that technology yet, but we have exclusive rights to negotiate with them over this 1 year period. So we're planning to do that in the next year to have a license. But they'll own the IP with that, as an exclusive license holder in the near future. It shouldn't be an issue.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Does that mean you're working against the deadline to exercise your option on the license?
Yeah. I mean, we've initialized some dialogue with them to try to establish some licensing terms so we can communicate that with investors. Knowing the royalty rates and the different milestones and whatnot. We're still planning to have a more in-depth conversation. I actually emailed the guy yesterday, but we have until, I think, beginning of September to establish that, yeah.
Hey, over here, I'm Chirag. I was just going to ask more about kind of your team's personal story and journey and how you guys came together.
Okay.
Like you said, you're doing biomedical engineering PhD. Is this startup something that came out of research that you worked on in grad school, and just kind of, a little bit more about you and your career?
Yeah, no, thank you. So my story is I got my bachelor's in chemical engineering from Tufts University, worked for 3 years at Genzyme, a biotechnology company in Boston area. And then I came to Vanderbilt for grad school in biomedical engineering because I wanted to do something more translatable and do something really pioneering. I was granted a good opportunity at that point. We had some funding to investigate developing this material. We were trying to figure out an application. I started collaborating with vascular surgeons, said, why don't you look at coronary and peripheral bypass surgeries? This is what my lab focuses on, developing an external stent. There's literature showing that this could help. And so we started on that journey. I went through a National Science Foundation I-Corps program in 2014 where I met healthcare professionals from across the country in Austin, Texas, and as well as California, La Jolla, and Vanderbilt, and met different transplant surgeons, cardiologists, vascular surgeons, nurses, FDA people, insurance companies, trying to see where the value is in what we're doing, and was getting consistent feedback. Why don't you look at hemodialysis access? That's a larger clinical need, shorter clinical trial requirement. Look at that, and just through that process, I realized that I love doing this. I love getting out of the building and talking to different surgeons and talking to people and trying to figure out, really, because it's my dream to develop a product that can have an impact on patients. And so started that process really in full force in 2014. Went through the Rice Business Plan competition in 2016, did some different business courses, and formulated a preliminary team from that. And then I met my partner Jeffrey Lux through a mutual mentor of mine in Nashville, Tennessee. He's certainly right there, and he has an MBA from Vanderbilt, and we both really want to develop something to impact patients. So why not continue on this journey? It's our dream. So.
Hi, I'm Roger Yarbrough. Just to make sure I understand, I guess, the process or direction you're heading. So you're trying to develop a product that you're hoping that will get acquired by a larger company, right? You're not actually trying to take the product to market yourself and grow a business that way. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, there's just, with any kind of technology like this, there's a lot of testing you need to do and developmental work to put together a package for the FDA. And so that's our focus, but we also need to figure out, to sell investors, we really need to build a business. Regardless of whether we'll be acquired or not, a business will sell itself if the story is complete. And so we still need to figure out all the logistics around how to do this on our own, but part of this process one of our main focuses is engaging these larger companies as well in the process. And so we've gotten some initial endorsements from Cook Medical. We actually applied to become a J-Labs company in Houston and got past that selection committee, still waiting for the final review decision, but looks like we're going to Houston. So we are engaging these larger companies, but typically it's more of a partnership through this development process, and then once you reach market, of course, distribution needs, you're looking for partners to do that. So, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jen, and my question is about, I'm intimately familiar with how lean early stage companies need to run, and so from a skill set perspective or a support from either a mentorship function, or there's a lot of folks that would probably be willing to work with you and provide some support, are there specific areas or skill sets that you feel like you would most benefit from at this point?
Yeah, so we went through the Health Wildcatters Accelerator, I forgot to mention that, and got connected to a good community here in Dallas, and that's part of the reason why we're here, so that's great. We are certainly looking for help across any areas. We don't have too much of a social media presence at this point. Maybe that's okay at this stage, but there are all these different facets. I mean, you can think about the technology development, testing, and all that. I think we have a lot of that stuff under wraps. We have a good regulatory consultant. We have, I guess, reimbursement people could be helpful. Certainly anything to connect us with relevant people within our business model in the healthcare system. And then also learning from entrepreneurs, I guess experienced entrepreneurs who have done this before would be helpful. We're building and constantly meeting new people and continuing to rely on previous people we've put in contact with and fostering those relationships. But we're always open. If you think you can help, and but I don't know if I answered your question.
Hi, my name is Sagar, and being completely unaware of this industry, I just wanted to ask, are there any other competitors, or this being such a big problem, are there any other things which have been developed to strengthen the AD connection, as you said?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I didn't have that as the last slide. Yes, so there are 3 main competitors in development. There's nothing currently on the market that's applied at the time of surgery to prevent access failures. But there are several, they call them perivascular approaches. The 3 main competitors are Laminate Medical. It's a nitinol mesh, so metal mesh, non-degradable to prevent access failures. Then there's Vascular Therapies. It's called matrix-eluting sirolimus. It's an immunosuppressive drug to reduce access failures. And then Proteon Therapeutics is actually a one-time therapeutic. 10 minutes to surgery, and they're currently in their second phase 3 clinical study. Of course, with these therapeutic approaches, a lot more developmental costs. These companies have raised tens of millions of dollars to get to this point. Although Laminate Medical is $8 million as a more for the device side. So, certainly we have competitors in clinical trials, but nothing's approved, and I think we have certain competitive advantages as a biodegradable, custom fit material that can provide mechanical support and also promote outward growth of the vein.
All right, so we have one final question.
Morning.
Good morning.
So I wanted to get a rough idea of how much more expensive do you guys predict, if you guys have looked into what you would sell this for compared to traditional AV fistulas. How much more would this cost, just to look at for cost efficiency, to actually have vascular surgeons start putting these in? And a second question also about, what do you think so what exactly is the number of failures you prevented for AV fistula failures using this specific stent that you're doing?
Yeah, so the pricing is still something that we're looking into and learning more about, and that's where, we've talked to reimbursement experts, but a lot of the pricing will be contingent upon what kind of reimbursement we can get, because you're right, it's adding costs to hospitals or the institution adopting the technology in some respects. But you go through a value selection committee. Hopefully you can show value not only to the payers, the insurers, but also the providers by reducing readmissions and lowering facility costs. But our current estimate is something close to 2,000, and that's along the lines of a typical drug-eluting stent technology. As a new technology in this field, in this space, it could be upwards of that, but right now we're a little bit below 2,000 estimated. And your other question about how much this can help, that's something we still need to determine. We're raising money to do more robust preclinical studies in large animals and pigs. So I can't tell you for sure, but even like a 10% or 20% reduction would be very significant for these patients. And the hope is that you can provide enough time so they can actually be a good candidate for transplants and be a bridge to that transplant for that patient. So we'll see.
Okay, great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in order to get this going and get the coffee and everything like this, we have companies that like to get involved, and they do that by providing coffee for us. So this month we have Next Media. Freddie standing over there. He's provided the coffee for all of us. He's got a media company, so you can ask him about that. Great, thank you, Freddie. We have Michael Bruno, who does the video for us. He's standing in the back with the green shirt. He's got his hat on backwards. He provides the video for the presenters, so whenever you want to watch the past presentations, just go onto the website and you can watch the video there. We're so happy that the DEC has us in here. Most of you know Trey Bowles. Thanks for having us here. This is an awesome venue and we love hanging out here. They offer free co-working space in here on Wednesdays after 1 Million Cups. So if you want to grab a table just in this back corner, you're welcome to do so. As long as there's space, you can do that. So thank you for that. And then usually we have Virtue treats, and they usually set up right by the coffee. They've got these awesome Transylvanian dessert pastries. They're not here today, but we'll see them next month. And one more thing I want to mention again is that today is our last day. We'll be back January 3rd, so we look forward to seeing you all then. And we also have a special event that we're planning for January the 24th. It's going to be a funding event. You can get some information on how to get funded through crowdfunding. More information to come. And if you're interested in applying, we are welcoming you to do so. Our application process is not too lengthy. So if you've got a startup, if it's an idea, conception phase, if it's an MVP, whatever stage you're at, we do welcome you to check that out, apply, and get more acquainted with our community that way. And we're on social media. Follow us. Right now we're using these hashtags for the companies that are with us today. If you want to say something, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to welcome our next presenter. Oh, this is our team, obviously. So if you recognize any of us and you wanted to have a chat, please do so. We're also interested in talking to you if you want to volunteer for us or with us. So I'm going to welcome our next presenter. His name is Jonathan, and he's with EB Systems. Welcome, Jonathan, for a round of applause, please.
John Ruiz. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EV Systems. We're based out of Kansas City, Missouri, actually. So really what we do is we create real-time location systems and management systems using 3 key pieces of technology. First would be Bluetooth beacon sensors, which are proximity-based sensors that communicate via Bluetooth, obviously. The eBeacons mobile app, and also the Beacon Reader, which is a dedicated Internet of Things device that scans for and communicates with beacons, wearables, and smartphones. So a little company history. This is actually my 4th time doing 1 million cups. So we started the company in Kansas City right around the same time that 1 million cups got started. So we got the opportunity to present there a couple times. And really the company has changed quite a bit since that first picture. Really, we weren't even the same company. We were trying to create a campus safety app so students could send their GPS location to officers if they were in trouble. After running into some issues trying to sell to universities and schools, we decided to focus on the safety personnel and officers themselves. We wanted to create a tool for them to do their jobs more efficiently and make their jobs easier. So that led to us developing the eBeacons mobile app. It allowed officers to file reports in the field, clock in and out based on location, and it allowed supervisors to monitor their employees' location, make sure that they're doing their job and they're where they're supposed to be. Now, we actually turned down quite a big investment and decided to code the app ourselves, find our first client, and bootstrap the company. That was honestly the best decision we ever made. So currently we're in 12 different states. We have over 5,000 users. Really the best result of deciding to bootstrap the company was it allowed us to stay owner-operated and make investments and innovations and new products that we wanted to create. So right off the bat, one of the things that really caught our eye was the Internet of Things industry. So really, the Internet of Things is connecting anything and everything to the Internet and collect data from it. So really, we were an IoT company before the buzzword even existed. We're using these Bluetooth beacons. So as soon as an officer with our app walked past one of these beacons, whether it be a room, hallway, or back door, we would know where they were indoors, we would know how long they spent in that area. We also push them proximity-based reminders. As soon as they walk past the back door, we can remind them to check if it was locked. If they walk into a room after hours, we can tell them to make sure that the lights were off and things of that nature. So really, since we were using this technology when it was so new, we had to become experts on it. And that allowed us to quickly learn what the advantages and disadvantages were of this technology. And it led us to want to create our own way to start setting up these connected environments. So I have this slide on here, have to brag a little bit and have to show that we truly are experts in this industry. We were actually granted a patent about a month ago around the process that we use to create these connected environments with cell phones, beacons, and dedicated devices. So really, it manifested itself in a product called the Beacon Reader, which is a dedicated IoT device that lets you do 2 specific things: actively scan for Bluetooth wearables, and then passively scan for smartphones. So what exactly does that mean? For example, let's talk about the active Bluetooth scanning. Think about a smart visitor badging system for a school or a secured building. Instead of giving them a sticker or a lanyard, we can assign them a wearable beacon, assign a user profile to it, whether it be a picture, name, or whatever types of credentials you want to add to it. Not only could you start tracking them throughout the building, but if they go somewhere they're not supposed to, you can send alerts to security. Let's talk about the passive cell phone scanning. One of our first clients was actually a local festival, music festival in Kansas City. They installed our devices at entrances, stages, and certain vendor booths. By constantly scanning for how many smartphones were within this radius, we were able to do analytics on where the crowd was flowing throughout the day and throughout the course of the event, and let them make decisions for planning decisions for next year, and also add value to some of the physical sponsorships and advertisements that they're trying to sell. So as you can see, this is pretty versatile technology. We're constantly looking for new applications and use cases. And a big industry and sub-industry within IoT is smart city. I wanted to take this time to talk about our project with DIA. We were actually here a little over a year ago researching our patent. The closest patent office to Kansas City is actually here in Dallas. So we're here researching, and I actually just knocked on Jen's door, told her what we were doing, and they became our first smart city partner. So using our Wi-Fi scanning abilities, we're able to start getting a pedestrian flow analysis here on Market Street. So we have a few devices installed. Really what we hope to accomplish is to not only start learning about this street, about Market Street in the living lab, but start applying that data to different things such as economic development, share the data with business owners to give them insights on activity in front of their building. Hopefully long term we want to work with the city to different departments for public safety, transportation, and city planning. So. So, as mentioned, this is my fourth time doing 1 million cups, and every time I presented, we've actually connected with someone that's led to at least one new client. That's huge for us, especially in the beginning when we were pre-revenue and the product didn't necessarily even exist. We actually met the connection that led us to our first client that allowed us to bootstrap the business and actually scale to where we are now. So really, if you guys have any ideas, I love hearing creative use cases and people asking me, can you do this, can you do that? So I'd love to connect with you and hopefully connect with people that are ready to do business and to grow the company further.
Hi there, Jeff Ronchek. I'm actually more interested in hearing your bootstrap story. As a tech startup myself, how in the world did you find the people who were going to build it for you back then when this was all brand new technology?
Well, that's the thing is we had a core team of people, 3 people at the beginning, and we were getting quotes from development companies for how do we develop this initial product. But really, all of us had expertise that allowed us to actually build that first product. So really we were at a crossroads whether we were going to take on this big investment, take on a bunch of investors, or we could just suck it up and do it ourselves. So that's essentially what we did. We just coded it out, we got our first client, and it was...
How did that first client then enable you to bootstrap?
Right, so the first client we got was a fairly large client. It's a big security company in Kansas City, Missouri. And so really just gave us the revenue we needed to pay the bills a little bit, but also allowed us to really focus on honing the product around this first client. We saw them as a leading example in the industry and the types of people we can work with. So learning with them, frankly, allowed us to create a product that was able to sell and grow the company.
Hi, my name is James. I'm curious about, have you tried this in a mall setting, a store, department store? And, because of the people buying more and more online, I could see that the analytics from it would help business owners, brick and mortar, to try to keep clients there.
Right. So one of our new exciting projects is we're working with a real estate company out in Plano, actually. So we've installed our devices on one of their new properties so they can start learning about where consumers are going throughout the new properties, so they can use that data to maybe run certain specials, run certain advertisements at certain times to get more people into that shopping center. So yeah, there is an interesting use case, and it makes sense. Physical places are constantly looking for ways to connect to the digital world, and this provides a nice stepping stone because it's a physical device that is tangible. As soon as you plug it in, you start seeing this data come in, and really it's, in the long run, the things you can learn is very valuable, I would say.
Good job.
Thank you.
I'm still Jeff. Two questions. First, can you talk about where you are right now? So, are you still in cash? Are you making a profit?
Yeah, so we're cash flow positive, and we actually have been for about 2.5 years now.
Fantastic. And question two was, like, for the Plano office building, do you have some idea of the costs involved?
Right, for us to actually install the system and things of that nature? Yeah, so we do not want to limit our clients per device. We want to be able to provide as many data points as they wish. So we do it based on data collection periods, whether it be 3 months, 6 months to a year. We do charge per device to an extent because it's physical. There are costs associated to that. But right now, honestly, we work with partners because the product itself is so new. We had a couple of beta clients before we got the patent granted. But really, we just got it about a month ago. So we're just starting to do some business models, try some creative ways to get the device, get the product out there, so we can start associating dollars to how valuable the data is, because it's tough being in such a new industry or space. Is you have to learn as you go, and you have to learn what's valuable and what isn't. So it's ever changing, I would say, at this point.
And I would guess there's, like in this case, both like a one-time installation fee, and then ongoing type, I guess like a monthly fee.
Sure, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Mark Claire. I was wanting you to talk a little bit more about the employees being able to log in and out no matter where they are.
Yep.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. The employees being able to log out. I'm a certified wedding and event planner, so I need to know what time employees coming in without me having to eyeball. So can you talk about that, please?
Sure. So the eBeacons mobile app is business on, and so it's just an app that is GPS verified. And really, one of the tools we use are these proximity-based beacons that I had right here. So we can set the range up to 60, 80 meters or down to 10 feet or less. So this represents a physical area that an employee needs to be in at a certain time. So really we use this, for instance, a lot of our security clients put this at like the front desk where they're supposed to check in every day. So based on proximity, we know that they were in that area, and we just timestamp that, and we can put it into a program that integrates with scheduling and things of that nature, just so we can automate some of those processes.
So if you think one.
Yep, just one, or it depends on how many check-in points that you require. So it all depends.
Hi, I'm Roger Yarbrough. So I have a follow-up question. So if I'm not sure I'm following exactly how it works. So if I'm supposed to be at the front desk and I've enabled, I guess, the app on my phone, and the beacon, I guess, is at the desk as well. So what prevents me from just leaving my phone at the desk and walking away? How do you?
Not much, but we are also GPS tracking via the app as well. So we do have smart alerts that functions that if a phone hasn't moved for an extended period, that is to raise an alarm, whether it's a safety issue, if it's something that you were talking about, they just left their phone somewhere. So there are ways for us to basically audit that and make sure that no one's cheating the system.
Hi, Jeff. We've been talking about 15 minutes. Why do you need the beacon? It seems like the phone itself would have some of the capabilities that the beacon would have. And is that a positive thing that you need the beacon? Is it essentially a threat from Apple or Samsung?
So there's basically two ways that this whole communication process works. First would be phone to beacon, and then the reason why we decided to develop our own dedicated device was because there were some drawbacks from the phone to beacon concept. Really, the main thing that we kept hearing was we were approaching security companies and that made sense to them, but we started getting approached for IoT consulting, marketing firms, real estate companies who wanted to track their consumers. And so the biggest drawback was with phone to beacon, you have to opt in via the mobile app, get that Bluetooth on. And that's easy to get, employee whose job it is to do that sort of thing. But consumer, it's hard enough to get them to download an app. Furthermore, to let them to try and expect them to turn on all those permissions. So we decided to develop the beacon reader because with the passive scanning abilities, we can get an idea of how many phones were within an area without any type of opt-in, just passively scanning. So that was big for these marketing companies, these event planning companies, because they just wanted to get an idea of where people were going. And furthermore, the reason why we decided to kind of flip the process and do beacon, mobile beacon, communicating to this device because it does release some of those opt-in elements and it kind of makes it easier, whether it be the visitor badging system or getting approached for events that want to use it as the smart VIP badge. There's many different use cases and we found that people are much more open to being handed something, saying, all right, this is your ticket here, this is what you need, versus, all right, you gotta go to the App Store, search this, So really, it's just a byproduct of us really using beacons, months after the iBeacon standard was released, and some of the other companies were starting to look into this technology. We just very quickly learned the disadvantages. We learned what the different types of industries and potential clients wanted. And that's just what led us to develop our own device that gives us those things.
Any questions?
Hello, my name is Quay. How do you feel your presence on social media is?
Terrible. I'll be just completely honest. I always tell people I'm like anti-social media. I was one of those guys back in the day who never had Facebook, and I was too cool for that sort of thing, I guess, in college. And so ever since then, I've just gotten some bad habits. But we're picking that up. So we're getting to the point where we're working with. We just hired a consulting firm to really start doing some of that stuff for me. So it's good problems to have, for about 2.5 years, it's just me and my co-founder doing everything. So now that we're growing, we can pay ourselves a little bit, we can start hiring a little bit. So that's definitely on my list of really start stepping up our social media for sure.
We have time for one last question.
Behind you.
Morning. I had a question about, because I wasn't sure how this tracked you after you had checked in at the job. Is this something that can GPS track you outside of the job as well, if the beacon is on you or if the phone is on you?
Go ahead.
Just because I was curious if employees have given pushback about intrusiveness and privacy, like if I'm in a competitor's side of town or something like that.
Oh yeah, we definitely initially got some pushback around that. So we use geofencing to basically draw that digital electric fence around the work site, and we use these beacons to kind of ensure that we're not tracking people when they're not working. So that was a big thing right off the bat. And so one of the things that we did with some of our first initial clients was actually go on ride-alongs with the officers, work with them and see what they wanted out of an app, because obviously it was their supervisors that wanted some of the GPS elements, but really what helped us grow was the attention we gave to the actual users, the officers, and created features that they liked and they wanted to use. And not everyone probably likes using our app, but when we talk to our users and interface with them, they all thank us because it makes some of their tedious job way easier. So.
I also had another question about it. It looks like there's the model is to use this device as, for accountability, that someone is there for attendance or where they need to be. Have you also been able to figure out, speaking of Internet of Things, to use these devices to maybe unlock features at the workplace, like access to a copier, or it unlocks a door, or logs you into a desktop or something like that? Is there some feature of that?
Not at this time. So really, it's interesting. Some of those things are on the IoT wish list, I would say, when it comes to future products, having that completely connected environment. I think one of the reasons we got such good initial traction around our dedicated IoT product was there was different types of companies and industries that wanted to get into IoT. They realized that was the future. To grow as a company, you had to have some sort of IoT element. So we decided to focus on creating a product that made that barrier as low as possible and made it easy for companies and organizations to take that first step into the Internet of Things. So really, we created just an easy way to create the environment. It's up to our clients and partners really to take that data and some of those use cases and assign value to it. We just have the hardware, we have the platform, but it's the Jennifers of the world that have innovative minds, and they know how to use the data, and they know how to assign value to it.
Okay, this is the moment when we close out the show, so thanks so much for coming. Before we say bye, I want to just ask if there's anybody here that's hiring for their company, or is anyone looking for an investor? Okay, the reason why we do this is so that other people that are in the group will know who to connect with. And are there any investors in here that would like to be known? Some people like to remain silent, so there still could be that person in here. We all have to network. All right, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you in the new year. You are welcome to hang out here and socialize for a little bit. And again, there is free co-working here today. Have a great day, everybody.